People on that side of the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome, they are literally saying they are getting paid. Put that in perspective. You have organizations that are not only organizing these people, they are paying them, they are giving them specific gear, they're giving them signs, and they're telling them to go out and interfere with large men predominantly that are trained in weapons and tactics. So on my channel today, on my early morning Sunday urban ruck, I want to discuss a few things that are affecting Canada, and to briefly touch on my last video and the response I got from you guys, the viewers, with a couple questions that I posed, specifically the question, who is Mark Carney working for? You know, definitively. You know, obviously I put out there that, or I know that he's heavily involved with the WEF, and I say that Mark Carney is the international roving president of the World Economic Forum. So the people's responses overwhelmingly came back that sentiment, that he is a WEF operative, and he's working on behalf of them, obviously, the European Union and the British imperial financial system. So it would appear also that that without a doubt that he's working against Trump. Now, there's a channel that I watch. It's called Promethean Updates. It's two older women that have been following specifically the British Empire since the 70s, they say. And they have a very, it would appear to me, they have a very good understanding of what the British Empire has done, you know, for centuries, but they put it into relation to Donald Trump's presidency. And basically, you know, under the Sleepy Joe Autopen's presidency, Obama's Autopen, Obama's presidency, I don't think he was using the Autopen, but who knows? They were in line with the British imperial financial system, whereas Trump wants to break away from that. And in doing so, Trump is breaking away from commitments to organizations all over the world. At last report, he is threatening, or has broken ties with 60 organizations, and he's threatening breaking ties with NATO. Obviously, the United States is the preeminent superpower on the planet, along with China and to a lesser extent Russia. So if the U.S. pulls out of NATO, it's going to leave the European Union and other NATO countries scrambling, to say the least. And that's what they're doing right now. Based on what the one lady from Promethean Updates is saying, that Mark Carney, Keir Starmer, and even, like, I always have to throw him in there too, Anthony Albanese from Australia, they are all in, well, they're all on the same page, which people that follow this content know that. And now, so basically, they are going around the world, more specifically Carney. Like I said, he seems to be the tip of the spear for that nefarious group of people. Going to China next week, going to the World Economic Forum in Davos, and I can't remember, he's going some other places too, I think, to finish up that trip, but I'll look into that. So, you know, he's going over to a country in China. He said in his very short prime minister run-up race to become prime minister of Canada, he said the biggest threat to Canada is China. He said that. So that was back in, that would have been what, March or April. So not that, you know, not that long ago. So now all of a sudden he wants to bolster ties with China. We all know that China is a very evil country, and we all know now, or we should all know now, that Carney is China. Okay, if you don't know that, well, you're part of the problem. So Carney's going to go over there. He's going to stir the pot with regards to getting whatever kind of support he can from China. Now, obviously, when he goes over there, it's going to be reported. Any of his accomplishments will be filtered through and pumped out through mainstream media, namely the CBC. So you're not going to get the true scope of what his meetings were about over there. CBC is going to report that he went over there and he secured contracts for possibly EVs, possibly military contracts for whatever we produce militarily, whatever they produce militarily. But I'm thinking the real reason he's going over there is to get China's backing, along with the European Union, like the Keir Starmers, the Francois Macrons, and even Anthony Albanese. He's trying to get China's backing to go against the United States. Now, what else can be rendered, or what else can be determined from that these actions of Mark Carney, other than what's he doing? He's stirring the pot for World War III. That's what I think he's doing, because they know here in Canada that their charade, their grift, their scam is coming to a drastic end in Canada. People are waking up, and waking up fast. So they don't have much time. And Donald Trump doesn't have much time either, like I said in my last video. Donald Trump is on a very expedited course to accomplish the eradication of the British imperial finance system, and he wants to set up for after his term is done, and after he's even dead, that he wants to secure longevity to keep the American way of life going. And I'm not saying Trump's an isolationist. I'm saying that Trump wants, he grew up obviously, he grew up a wealthy man. He knows the good times, and a lot, back in the 50s, after World War II, they were booming times, and they were good times. I'm a Generation X, born in 1969. I grew up with good times. Did I always have good times? No, but the majority of my life has been relatively good. Since that dandy Justin Trudeau was installed in 2015, things haven't been so good, and they're getting way worse since COVID, which was manufactured to make things worse. Things are spiraling out of control. Now, Carney's going to come back from his communist buddies backing tour, and he's gonna put across that he made some inroads with regards to international trade and all that bullshit, and that is nothing to do with, that's not going to help Canada. If anything, it's going to ensure Brookfield Asset Management's longevity, because that's basically why he was installed. Well, one of the reasons he was installed is to strip Canada of its money and pump it into his holdings and his handlers' holdings. Now, like I said earlier, the CBC is going to, spin it completely different, because that's what they get paid to do. They are the propaganda wing of the Liberal government, and I've touched on that in many videos, and people that watch this sort of content, they know that. So, to recap, Carney's involvement with Trump. Trump does not want Carney to be in the situation he's in. He's not going to allow the Chinese to further solidify their hold on Canada, because it's a national security threat to his country. So Trump is going to take, in my opinion, Trump is going to take drastic action in the next 2 or 3 months. Now, will there be a spring election in Canada? There's a good chance of that, because it doesn't appear that Mark Carney is going to get his majority by floor crossers. It doesn't appear to be that way, because his ministers are leaving. Chrystia Freebase, Melanie Jolie's talking about leaving, Bill Blair's talking about leaving. So it's coming out that other ministers have been approached, and they are saying they're not going to cross. So I'm glad. I said they were going to get their majority before the Conservative leadership review at the end of this month, but I was wrong, and I admit that I was wrong. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Could it still happen? I don't know. I don't think so. Now, Carney, in my estimation, is stirring up the potential for World War III. Okay, so I also want to touch on what is going on with regards to the civil unrest in the United States and civil unrest that just occurred here in Toronto yesterday. Morning.
Morning.
Where's the party?
Sorry?
Where's the party?
Yesterday, you missed it.
Oh yeah? Maybe next year. Okay, so obviously we all know what happened down in Minneapolis there, 4 days ago, where Renee Good got shot in the face. She did hit that ICE officer. She hit him, and she made the wrong choice that day. I'm not going to get too much into that, but what's going on down there? It is putting more focus on the level of insanity, the level of potential violence of the white liberal Karen. And I'm going to start focusing on that more and more, because countless videos are coming back from all over independent news outlets, even mainstream media, where they are showing, but mostly independent, they are showing white liberal Karens, and to a lesser extent beta feminized liberals, and even to a lesser extent black people. So these women that range in age from teenagers into their senior years, where they're, you know, maybe 70 years old, they are out there so filled with vitriol, getting in the face of, you know, large federal ICE agents and regular police, and yelling at them, blocking their cars, getting into physical confrontations with them. Now, this is just not a problem isolated to the United States. We have it up here as well. And the level of delusion, in my estimation, these people have to think they are actually going to change something with regards to their actions. They are not going to change nothing. There are people caught on video. Well, two things, lots of things, but two things I want to point out. People on that side of the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome, they are literally saying they are getting paid. They are telling people like myself, people like citizen journalists, I'm not really that, but people that go film these rallies, they're literally getting to the point where they say, yeah, we get paid well. It's a job. And you know, we know this. People in this that follow this sort of content know this. They are not out there for free. So they are organized, they get round up, and they get paid. So put that in perspective. You have organizations that are not only organizing these people, they are paying them, they are giving them specific gear, they're giving them signs, and they're telling them to go out and interfere with large men predominantly that are trained in weapons and tactics, and they are geared up with plate carriers, level 3A bulletproof vests, automatic weapons, semi-automatic weapons, and service weapons, and they are trained to use them. And so basically you are sending lambs to the slaughter. That's what's going on. So these people, like I said, it is mind-boggling to their mindset, to where they think this is going to end up. There was one video I watched, he was a bigger beta feminized male, he had no bass in his voice, and he was saying that it's time for people to start bringing firearms to these protests. Okay, so now you start bringing firearms to these protests where there's federal agents. Listen, how mentally fucking deranged you got to be to think you're going to go out and have a gunfight with federal agents? This ain't the fucking Alamo. You are going to be chopped down. You're cannon fodder. You're useful idiots. Sure, you're making money. You're getting paid to go do this, but it isn't going to end well for you. So, in my videos coming up, increasingly there is going to be more and more content from my channel that is going to be outlining. How you doing, buddy? That's going to be outlining the crazy, unhinged, delusional, they think, forward movement of leftist Karens. Like I said in my video before, they appear to be the tip of the spear for that movement. And there's that content provider. Her name's Tanya. She's Slavic and she's from Canada originally, but she is, I believe, in Texas now. She's an oil field worker, and she's very popular, very famous. I'll put a picture of her up. And you know, she gives a pretty good breakdown of the white liberal Karen. She says that they're sexually frustrated, and to put a humor spin on it, but I don't know if it's so humorous. She says they're sexually frustrated and want to be thrown around by burly men. I want to show you something cool over here. This plaza here used to be called West Clare Plaza. So this used to be my hangout with my crew when we were kids and teenagers and into our early 20s. This was our congregation spot. Oh, look at this. Yeah, they changed it. Huh, shit. Shit. Okay, so this manhole cover here, when they redid this parking lot, they redid this parking lot not so long ago, or did they move it over here? Oh, okay, so this manhole cover is 1944. That manhole cover over there used to be 1892. It was the oldest manhole cover in Toronto, and it said Junction Sewer Company on it. I wanted to show that to you, but since they redid this, they took that manhole cover. I wonder who got that. It was the oldest manhole cover in Toronto. So, anyhow, so where is this all going in 2026? In my estimation, and a lot of people's estimations, it is going to rapidly pick up. Yesterday in Toronto was the Canada First rally down at Nathan Phillips Square. I couldn't attend it because I had previous engagements. I had previous appointments that I couldn't get out of, so I couldn't go to it. But I watched some live stream of it on YouTube, and it was a large turnout for Joe Puck Daddy and his movement, his cause. There was a lot of people down there and a lot of police, and there were counter protesters as well. And the counter protesters got almost immediately, they got aggressive, and I have reports that 9 of the counter protesters on the Antifa crazy libtard Karen side got arrested. Now on the video, the live stream I was watching, what was it? I don't know, it was Travel Fun 69. I'll try to find it, but he was live streaming it, so I don't know if there's actual video footage of what I witnessed, but I guess it'd be right to the east going north on Bay Street. They were kettled in. The police kettled in the Canada First movement, and they tried to separate Canada First, which was vastly superior numbers. It was a good turnout, like I said. So they tried to separate the aggressive unhinged libtards that appear. Some of them were dudes dressed up as women, which is not, you know, surprising or uncommon. And so the cops they had a front against Antifa, and they had a front against the Canada First. Now, caught on video was the deranged liberal lunatic punching a cop right off the top of his head into his bicycle helmet. A good shot. And a small little cop, a tiny cop, guy, I think it was a guy. And so you can imagine how that ended up for that deranged libtard. He was immediately swarmed by police, and then they gave him a couple knees to the face. And yeah, I think his wig fell off, and they handcuffed him, and he's going to be charged with assault police, which is, and who knows if he had any weapons on him, whatever, but I would say the initial charge would be assault police. It's caught on video. He couldn't control, like most liberals, can't control their estrogen, and he punched the cop in the head. Now, the guy that was doing the videoing, I just found this out on the video yesterday, he was an ex-cop, and I met the guy. I've met him before. He's got a pretty big YouTube channel. And, you know, the only slight I'll say against him, he was getting kind of excited when he was doing his commentary. Like, it kind of detracted from the actual video, but I'm off on a tangent. But he caught the punch into the face of the cop quite clearly. So, you know, you imagine going to a rally. Okay, it's one thing if you are physically assaulted and you're defending yourself, but you imagine going to a rally and the level of derangement that it would take to punch a cop in the head. He tried to punch him in the face, obviously, but he, you know, obviously these dandies aren't very good at what they do, and he hit the cop in the top of the head in his helmet. But still, that's assault. So you imagine the level of derangement that prompts you to do that, and the cop didn't do nothing to this guy other than yell at him, other than hurt his safe space. So that's what we're dealing with. And apparently, like I said, 9 were arrested. There was another one arrested at Nathan Phillips Square, or sorry, Dundas Square, when they marched down there, the Canada First. And the person that marched down, well, a few of the Antifa type, they followed the Canada First over to Dundas Square, and one of it would appear to be a transgender person. They pushed the cops too far, and they got arrested. So what I'm noticing now, the cops are not dealing with this as look the other way as they used to. They are actually taking action against these lunatics. So be it as it may, you are getting paid to be an agent provocateur, okay? I don't get that. I don't get it. But if you have no money and you have been gaslight and you think you're going to be a freedom fighter and you're going to be part of a movement that's actually going to bring in change, yeah, you're going to go down there. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you are putting your life at risk, okay? Also down there, apparently the Antifa types were throwing rocks and whatever they had in their pockets towards the Canada First crowd. So, and like I said, they were vastly outnumbered. If the police weren't there, those limp-wristed Antifa types that are on the fringe of society would have been overrun, and they would have been still sweeping up teeth, brain matter. They would have been annihilated by the Canada First side. So they're the ones that are anti-police. They are the ones that want to defund the police. But in this case, the police saved a lot of their, I'm not saying, you know, anyone would have been killed, but they saved a lot of serious injuries yesterday. So now we all know the police arrest these type of people. They're all going to get bail immediately. They have legal representation on standby. And then they have the judges and the Crown prosecutors that are Antifa themselves. So we all know how that works in the liberal-run cities, the way this city is run. And hopefully that will change, because the system is stacked against sane people. The system has been, over decades, designed to put radicals in charge of the legal system, to hire weak police that have a tough time making arrests. Like you watch some of the videos. One video out of Montreal where a homeless guy, it took 25 cops or something to wrangle a homeless guy. They almost crushed him between 2 cop cars. 2 female Toronto cops wrestling a homeless guy downtown. They had to sit on him. 2 women cops had to sit on a homeless guy because they couldn't get handcuffs on him. They had to wait for backup. In my day, when they were driving around in my neighborhood here, 11 Division or 12 Division, they were driving around in yellow cop cars. Yellow. And we knew, we were street hooligans. So they knew us, and we knew the cops by names. We had conversations, we had interaction with the police. You know, if the police caught us drinking up at the park over there, you know, they wouldn't even arrest us. They, you know, sometimes they take our beer and sometimes they wouldn't. And, you know, have we all had run-ins with the police from a legal standpoint? Yes, we did. But another thing I will say, back then, these cops were tough. And there was always stories, and we knew people, lots of people in this neighborhood got beat up bad by the cops, like real bad. So we knew the cops that used to do it, like a Bill Blair type cop. He was a Toronto police chief, and he was now he's a politician for the Liberal government. You know, I came across people when I was younger that actually had been beaten up by him. He's a dirty, greasy, crooked cop. But a lot of these times, in a lot of these instances, people deserve to be beat up. if you can believe that, people deserve it. And these white liberal Karens, I'm telling you, the hammer's coming down, and there's going to be a lot more shootings and a lot more beatings. So prepare for that. So anyhow, my last video. Thanks for pointing out what I suspected, that Trump Trump and his administration are on their own with regards to Mark Carney, the WEF, the EU, NATO, and China. So Trumpy has to put his plan into overdrive, and hopefully that that culminates and sending that fork-tongued lizard Carney back to Europe, wherever he lives over there. He has an Irish passport, a Great Britain passport, and a Canadian passport, and his weirdo wife and his weirdo kid live in New York, I'm to understand. So hopefully that puts him into exile out of the country. He doesn't want to be in this country anyways. He just thinks Canada is a fucking slot machine that pays up to him. That's all he thinks Canada is. I'm gonna get in my next video. I'm gonna start talking about the beef cartels and how the Liberal government is in control of the beef cartels and why we are being priced out of beef. And I'm going to get into that video next. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, put it in the comment section. I'm by my Buddhist temple that seems to be going on forever, the construction. It's pretty nice, eh? Look at this. Huh, kind of nice how they got a little bungalow done up. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.